Hey guys, I'm here. I have another video coming out on this topic of the Hebrew Israelites, crushing them. Crushing them. I have more stuff to put in the video. And I had to edit it and I had to do all this stuff. But I'm gonna film another coverage of another video. Hold on. So guys, I'm here to debunk a video made by a Hebrew Israelite with stupid, foolish, illogical evidence saying that the Edomites were the white people of the Bible. And I'm gonna use even my own walk and what I do to even prove that wrong. And then I'm gonna show you the best I can that the Edomites or Esau was emphatically not white. Okay, let's get into this. Listen how dumb this is.
Praise to how about Shah, the bonds to the elders and apostles, the great millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. And may the Lord bless those brothers across the four corners of the earth, preaching the truth in all sincerity. I was just doing some Google searches, and I typed in how do white people eat steak, and you can see right here on some of these websites and articles, it says why do people like to eat bloody steak? Because it's known across the world that white people like bloody steak and meat. Okay, and you go down and read it again. It says why do people eat raw meat? Why do white people eat raw meat? And why do white people eat their steaks bloody?
Just to let you know, knowing the Bible and what Acts says, I try not to, and I don't like to eat my steaks bloody. I don't even eat steak really. And I don't like to eat meat bloody because the Bible says to abstain, for the Gentiles abstain from things strangled and from blood and things with blood in it. Because it gives demons power, and it's just put abstain from blood. So so he's wrong on this, and I don't know why people like bloody meat. What is that? That's generalizing the white population with statistics that did not cover every single white person on the earth. That's generalization. That's stupid reasoning. I don't like bloody meat. Okay, guys? I don't like to eat it. I like to obey the Bible. Not because I'm religious, because I've been changed. I've been born of God. I have the affections. I want to obey God. I've been transformed to obey God. I have affections against sin and a thirsting after righteousness. I don't do it because I've been outwardly taught to do all these things, but I've been transformed. The Spirit agrees with the Spirit that which teaches the truth. Yes, I have been deceived, but the Spirit agrees with what teaches the truth. And then that Spirit has me almost by nature do righteousness. Okay? And keep the Bible. Yes, I'm not perfect, but there is a change in heart, not just a change in action in me. I want to do righteous. I want to be holy. Okay? My heart has been transformed by the Holy Ghost. But if you look at all these Hebrew Israelites, their hearts are full of guile. They are doing works of straight up work salvation. Their heart, they are just doing this stuff for pride, saying I'm a Hebrew Israelite, to boast before God. Say I'm a Hebrew Israelite. They didn't have it for pride, to boast before men. Not because the heart has been changed. They're lost in religion. They don't have a heart change. This debunks how they can be children of God. If they don't have a true heart change, if this is just doctrine and this is religion they're following for pride, for reputation, to boast before God, to worship in yourself as a color of skin, this debunks them being children of God, because they are children of men. They are children in of themselves, to be worshipped in themselves. They are humanistic, they are carnal, and they are not children of God. And if they even were Jews, then they're like the Jews are not, that are not all of Israel, that will be damned to hell if they don't repent. As you're going to see, I'm going to show you what straight up what salvation is in the video that's going to come out. This guy actually says straight out of mouth, complete unadulterated work salvation. And it exposes his doctrine. I debunk everything else too. I address everything else too. But this guy in the video exposes himself. But let's keep watching.
Why do white people enjoy eating bloody meat? So, everybody knows how white people like to eat their steak. And, the white man likes blood in his steak, and that goes back to Esau.
I don't.
Okay? That's how Esau likes to eat his steak.
So, because Esau like bloody steak, and white people like bloody steak, that means that the Edomites are white because they have a similarity with Esau. That's like saying, you want to get real biased here, they say black people like fried chicken. And like, they like I like wings. Am I half black? I have similarities. Because someone has similarities with another person who has a color of skin, doesn't make them that color of skin. It just means they have similarities, stuff that they can bond by. If you get what I'm trying to say. This doesn't prove the Edomites are white. This proves that they have similarities with with Esau, who wasn't white, as you're going to see right on in this video.
So, you go up here, you type in, how do black people eat steak? It says, why do black people like steaks well done? Because that's how we eat our meat. We eat our meat, well done. We don't like bloody meat, okay? And it says, why do black people always order their steaks well done?
No, black people like well done meat. You can't, not, the black people that do, and all white people like bloody meat, no, black people like well done meat. How about you go and ask all the black people, no, you see if you can find someone who likes bloody meat that's black, and you'll find one. This is stupid.
Why do black people eat their meat well done? And
I like my meat well done. So am I black? If I a white man, if it would be black, if I Hebrew Israelite?
You go down to the bottom, it says, why do most blacks like well done, dry ass steak? So everybody knows how, the people of color like their meat. All right, these so-called white people, these Edomites, are the only nation of people really who enjoy bloody meat. Okay.
I don't. I prefer to obey the Bible, and bloody meat lets demons in your blood. If bloody meat did let demons in your body and empower demons in your body, then I wouldn't eat it. I would avoid it the best I can. I do avoid it. I noticed there's meat that's red on the chicken that looks not well done, and I didn't eat those parts. I tried to avoid eating those parts. I don't like bloody meat. So, this is stupid. Not all white people like bloody meat, not all black people like well done meat. Some like medium rare. A little pink in the middle. Who even know?
You heathens. So let's go to images. As you can see, we go to images. How do white people eat steak? I'm going to show you how to eat steak, all right? And that's, straight off the cow. But anyway,
I don't like raw meat. I don't even eat sushi. I maybe have sushi, and eating raw meat is not as well. If it doesn't have blood in it, it's not a sin. And if it is, I will stop doing it. You show me in scripture, or you just reason with me, and I will stop doing it. But I don't really eat sushi. I only have sushi probably a few times in my life. So what are we talking about?
I got a video that I'm going to show you guys right after I get done speaking. But I just want to make this video quick to show you who Esau is for some of you new people who are coming into this truth. You blacks and
Oh, this lie. This is so stupid. This is like saying because the Hispanics and the blacks are persecuted a lot because of the affiliation with the penitentiary, with drugs, that they are the true people because they're persecuted a lot, when there's a lot of white people persecuted also by all kinds of people that are following Christ, more righteously than any of these fools are.
Spanish and Native Americans who are coming in the truth and not fully convinced of who these Edomites are. All right, these Edomites are these so-called white people, okay? And they eat bloody meat.
So-called white people. So if I not white, when you were so-called, you used it to mean supposedly, or they're not really. It's not really true. If I call someone a so-called brother, so-called Christian, he's not really a Christian. And they attack, and they look at this weird guy, and they attack Christianity when the disciples were first called Christians in Antioch, but they don't take that name, do they? Show me a sect that does. Do you know that I said in the video? Not all sects believe that all that white people are damned. The certain sects are more hateful and more evil-hearted than others. I talked to one that was at least decent. He said I can go to heaven, but I gotta serve him. And I'm gonna, if I can get a debate with him, last debate with him, I'm gonna address Isaiah 60 in that debate. I'm gonna address it. And I would take that it already happened. It's only a historical event. It's not speaking of Judgment Day, because I would say and not speaking of Judgment Day, because listen, God's no respecter of persons. I have to read it again. But I'm gonna address in the video. We're not gonna serve. I'm not even Edomite, but I'm not gonna serve a black man in heaven. That's not biblical. This Isaiah 60 has already happened. And if they want to get so little, the first, am I the last on the block? The first shall be last, which is the Israelites, and the last shall be first. So we're gonna do a little reversal. We take the block of so little like that. You can be serving me, Parliament Gentile. So this has already happened, guys.
Back to the forefather Esau. But with that, I'd like to say to the next video, and shalom.
Okay, I wanted to show you my raw meat breakfast. I wanted you all to have a chance to see someone eat it. There wasn't a lot of that on YouTube. I've got a little bit of kidney here and some hamburger. I ate the hamburger because it's a lot less expensive. Got some eggs.
You get demons from the boy, you're gonna get demons.
And raw
this
butter.
Means nothing because what I'm about to show you, I'm about to debunk the Israelites, the Edomites being white. Esau in Hebrew.
Here is your translation.
The color of Esau in Hebrew. You guys. So now they're gonna lie. This is Hegelian dialectic. This is white bad and blacks and Hispanics good. This is unbiblical. The Bible says he made nations all of one blood. Even if you believe in DNA, I'm not completely white, I'm half black, so like that. According to DNA, so there's no really black man. How does it listen? So how can it be possible if the Jews, they thought were black? When we find the DNA, they're not fully black. How can they be black purely? So are they half Jew? Are they half Jew, half Gentile, half abomination, half consecration, or what? This black and white war is simply has been going on by Satan, because both white and black people, you know that route, are used of God, and God works through them, and God fulfills His will through them. God needs no man, but He does it. So if He wants to divide the body and create this carnal black and white war, He's creating a war against both sides who hold the children of God. Look at this guy. This guy right here is admitting by his own conclusion that the word rubby, Esau, was red. He was red and rubby. He wasn't white. Where do we see white on this list on his conclusion? There's no white here. Now let's go to the Bible. this white one, the white side was Masonic, the KKK, and both sides are Masonic. Both sides had roots to Masonry. But this war going on is basically gonna damn both white supremacists and black supremacists to hell. And it's really to attack both sides, the black men of God and white men of God. And Satan wants to attack both sides. And the demons are having fun having people's minds in foolishness in the Hegelian dialectic like system that their mind is in. And this goes out satanic. All the nations say he is red. So the Edom was red skinned, and they're saying the red skinned or brown skinned or reddish type brownish skin is damned to hell. That's not white people. And I read the verse. Let me show you what they need to say the Edomites are damned to hell, which is simply out of biblical understanding. I'm not an Edomite, guys. I'm not red. Esau wasn't white. In fact, I'll go the argument that the white man didn't exist until God scattered the languages. He also scattered the colors, so it would be more harder in languages and different colors for man to identify themselves. It would and basically the colors and language different colors would separate man into groups, but none in the distinct color. We're all, according to DNA, not fully pure color, so there's not like a fully pure Jew as in color. But so there would be separations between societies. There would be this complexion and that complexion outwardly, and this language and that language. It would cause society to more trickier become one in one unity, because the languages are spread out and the colors are spread out. And if you never meet a different colored person, wouldn't you be kind of what would you think? So it would take longer, as it has been taking longer for us to come together and create a new world order, then if you want to go that route, then basically it would hold off the creation of a new world order, of one world coming together to bring Lucifer's kingdom and Lucifer's reign. So if the white man didn't exist until the languages scattered out to separate people so they don't come into one world order as soon as long as possible, then the white man wasn't Esau, and neither was the Edomite. They was a totally different person, a totally different complexion, a totally different complexion of people, if you will. So this debunks what you're saying about. So his name, he Haley, like a garment, all over red. So he was red. He wasn't white, guys. This is the inner word, Genesis 2:15. But the verse they use is in Isaiah. They say then the Lord said he had indignation over the Edomites forever. I say that's more figurative because Jesus can't take away the sin of the whole world. The word in the Greek is cosmos, which means the whole world. When you think of revelation of all nations, having salvation or whatever, it's in the Greek all nations, literally, all people. So more symbolic, and to say the Lord will have indignation upon the people that say upon the wicked forever, the wicked that remain in wickedness. So even the Lord will have indignation upon the one. I say that could be related to Hebrews 6. Somebody who had the birthright, but then had so much illumination, but then sold for the pleasure of this world. I would say it's more referring to Hebrews 6 than it is for some people being damned. It's more symbolic because God's not willing that any should perish, but that all come to repentance. God is not willing that any should perish in a linear. 2 Peter 3:9 in a linear. Two Peter 3:9 Greek in a linear. In a linear. Why can't I say that word? So God's not willing that any should perish, guys. Anyone. But all come to repentance. And the Son of Man came not that he would condemn the world. He came not to condemn, but that the world might be saved. Okay, guys? So he didn't come to condemn anybody, but that anybody had a chance to be saved by his sacrifice and his resurrection, which is symbolic too. So, guys, so I say more symbolic of the wicked that have indignation forever. It's more symbolic of not a simple people, because Christ died for every man, whether you like it or not. It's in the Bible, it's in the Greek. It's more symbolic of the wicked. He'll have indignation upon the wicked that turn. Okay. He'll have more indignation upon the wicked. He'll have indignation upon the wicked who knew God, but then sold their birthright, will receive all, raise the dead, more Hebrews 6 type. Somebody who sold that gave the birthright. It's more symbolic upon the wicked, upon the traitors, upon the people who committed treason, than upon the specific people. Biblically, it can't be specific people because Jesus died for every man. And God is no respecter of persons. And Esau and do not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. So Deuteronomy chapter 23 verse 7. So the God changes not, and his word can be broken. He doesn't go back and contradict himself. So listen to this. Thou shalt not. This is the same book in the Bible they use to prove they say they are. As you can see in my previous videos or whatever refuting or whatever the Hebrew Israelites. But thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not. So you're not supposed to abhor. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in the land. And to fit the qualification, you have to be in captivity, be brought to captivity and return. Have you guys all returned yet, guys? So this way I go deeper in my coming video, but just to give you guys we'll just give you guys a sneak peek that these guys are wrong. And give me a while, and give me like a day, and I'll have that video up. Day or two. Be blessed, guys, in the name of Jesus Christ. I love you guys. Bye.
I only have one message to give you. I don't care what you think of me. I don't care what you call me. I do care what you do with this information, because it is important to our survival as a species.
I am Edomite.
I'm an Edomite.
I'm an Edomite and I will be destroyed.
I'm an Edomite and my time has come.
I am an Edomite. My kingdom is finished. I am at my end.
I am an Edomite. I am an Edomite.
I am an Edomite. I'm going to sleep.
All right, Esau. All right. Hey, don't buck up. Don't buck up.
Speaking, but I just wanted to make this video quick to show you who Esau is for some of you new people who are coming into this truth. You blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans who are coming into truth and you're not fully convinced of who these Edomites are. All right, these Edomites are these so-called white people, okay? And they eat bloody meat. Goes back to their forefather Esau.
And humanity starts with Adam and Eve. Adam was the first man formed by God. And Adam and Eve begat Cain, Abel, and Seth. Cain killed Abel, and the Lord disinherited Cain, and humanity continued on through Adam and Eve's son Seth. Noah is of the lineage of Seth. And Noah begat Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And in the days of Noah, the Lord caused a flood to come and destroy the earth. So on this side of the flood, the whole world was repopulated from Noah's three sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And Noah is our direct link on the other side of the flood to Adam and Eve. So Ham is the father of the children that the world know as Africans. Japheth is the father of the children that the world know as Gentiles or either white people, And out of the lineage of Shem, you get Abraham. And the Bible refers to Abraham as the Hebrew. Not that he was a Hebrew, but they refer to him as the Hebrew because the word Hebrew means wanderer. And the Lord called Abraham to come out of the land of his nativity, which is Ur of the Chaldeans. And the land of Ur is in present-day Iraq. And he caused him to come into a land that he didn't know nothing about, which was the land of Canaan, Ham's oldest son. And he was going to give Ham's oldest son, Abraham, to Abraham for a possession. And out of Abraham, you got Ishmael and Isaac. Ishmael is the father of the Arab nation. And out of Isaac, you have Esau and Jacob. Esau is referred to as Edom and his descendants as Edomites, and these are the people that the world accepts as Jews today. And these are the people that the world accepts as Jews today.
There's a controversy for the ones who know they're Israelites on who are white people according to the Bible. Some camps like to base their facts off other books and historians, but we are going to base our facts off the Bible. In doing that, we are going to look into the language, covenant, customs, color, and location. Let's get it. Genesis chapter 10, verse 32. These are the families of the sons of Noah, after their generations, in their nations. And by these were the nations divided in the earth after the flood. Genesis chapter 11, verse 1. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. Verse 6 through 9. And Yahweh said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language. And this they begin to do, and now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. So Yahweh scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off to build the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because Yahweh did there confound the language of all the earth. And from thence did Yahweh scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. So Yahweh at this time confounded the languages. He spread all the people that was upon the earth and confounded their languages. So this is where the different languages began. Genesis chapter 14, verse 13. And there came one that had escaped and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dealt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol and brother of Anar, and these were confederate with Abram. So here it states Abram was a Hebrew. Hebrew in ancient Hebrew is Ibar, which means one from beyond. So Hebrew came from Eber. So Abram was an Eberite because he's a descendant of Eber. So if you go to Genesis chapter 11, you'll see that Eber is a descendant of Shem. So let's go to Genesis chapter 11, verse 27 and 28. Now these are the generations of Terah. And Terah begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And Haran begot Lot. And Haran died before his father, Terah, in the land of his nativity, in Ur of the Chaldees. So this is where Abram's from. He's from Ur of the Chaldees. Verse 31. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran, his son's son, and Sarah, his daughter-in-law, his son Abram's wife. And they went forth with them from Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan. And they came unto Haran and dwelt there. So we know Abram spoke Hebrew. But what about his forefathers? This is the book of Jasher, chapter 9, verse 5 and 6. And when Abram came out from the cave, he went to Noah and his son Shem, and he remained with them to learn the instructions of Yahweh and his ways. And no man knew where Abram was, and Abram served Noah and Shem his son for a long time. And Abram was in Noah's house 39 years, and Abram knew Yahweh from 3 years old, and went in the ways of Yahweh until the day of his death, as Noah and his son Shem had taught him. And all the sons of the earth in those days were greatly transgressed against Yahweh, and they rebelled against him, and they served other gods, and they forgot Yahweh who had created them in the earth. And the inhabitants of the earth made unto themselves at that time every man his god, and gods of wood and stone, which could neither speak, hear, nor deliver. And the sons of men served them, and they became their gods. So as you see, Abram was in Noah's house, learning the instructions of Yahweh from Noah and Shem for 39 years. So what language did they speak? Did they speak the same tongue? Genesis chapter 12, verse 7. And Yahweh appeared unto Abram and said, Unto thy seed will I give this land. And there builded he an altar unto Yahweh, who appeared unto him. Genesis chapter 15, verse 18. And the same day Yahweh made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. So from the river of Egypt to the Euphrates River, the land was given to Abram and his descendants. Genesis chapter 16, verse 1 through 4. Now Sarah, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had an handmaid, an Egyptian whose name was Hagar. And Sarah said unto Abram, Behold now, Yahweh has restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go in unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened to the voice of Sarah. And Sarah, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. And he went in unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. Verse 6. And Abram said unto Sarah, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarah dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. And the angel of Yahweh found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain of the way to Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarah's maid, whence camest thou? And whither wilt thou go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarah. And the angel of Yahweh said unto her, Return to thy mistress, and submit thyself under her hands. And the angel of Yahweh said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. And the angel of Yahweh said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and shall bear a son, and shall call his name Ishmael, because Yahweh hath heard thy affliction. And he will be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. Verse 15 and 16. And Hagar bare Abram a son, and Abram called his name which Hagar bare, Ishmael. And Abram was 86 years old when Hagar bare Ishmael to Abram. So what language do you think Ishmael spoke? We know that Abram spoke Hebrew. So what language did Ishmael speak? So Abram and Sarah finally had a son and called his name Isaac. Genesis chapter 21 verse 5. And Abram was 100 years old when his son Isaac was born unto him. So what language do you think he spoke? Genesis chapter 25 verse 19 through 27. And these are the generations of Isaac, Abram's son. Abram begot Isaac. And Isaac was 40 years old when he took Rebekah to wife, the daughter of Bethuel, the Syrian of Padanaram, the sister to Laban the Syrian. And Isaac entreated Yahweh for his wife because she was barren. And Yahweh was entreated of him. And Rebekah, his wife, conceived. And the children struggled together within her. And she said, If it be so, why am I thus? And she went to inquire of Yahweh. And Yahweh said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her room. And the first came out red, all over like an hairy garment. And they called his name Esau. And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel. And his name was called Jacob. And Isaac was 80 years old when she bare them. And the boys grew. And Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field. And Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau, because he did eat of his venison. But Rebekah loved Jacob. Now there's some camps out there that teach that Esau means wasted away is he. But I haven't found that, because if you go into the Compact Bible Dictionary or your Hebrew Concordance, Esau means hairy. Esau means hairy. That's all Esau means. It means hairy. So let's go into the book of Josephus now. This is page 47, paragraph 270. It states, Now when the supper was got ready, he took a goat's skin and put it about his arm, that by reason of his hairy roughness, he might by his father be believed to be Esau. For they being twins, in all things else alike, differed only in this thing. So they were identical twins. They only differed in Esau being hairy. That's what Esau means, hairy. That's the only thing they differed in, was that he was hairier than Jacob. So let's go into the book of Jasher, chapter 26, verse 13 and 14. And when her days to be delivered were completed, She knelt down, and behold, there were twins in a room, as Yahweh had spoken to her. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment. And all the people of the land called his name Esau, saying that this one was made complete from the womb. Let's jump to verse 17. And the boys grew up to their 15th year, and they came amongst the society of men. Esau was a designing and deceitful man, and an expert hunter in the field. And Jacob was a perfect man and wise, dwelling in tents, feeding flocks, and learning the instructions of Yahweh and the commands of his father and mother. So what language do you think they spoke? Esau and Jacob. They spoke Hebrew. So we know that Abram learned the instructions of Yahweh from Noah and his son Shem, and all the customs too. So then Abram had two sons. He had Isaac and he had Ishmael. And you best believe he taught them the ways of Yahweh and the language. Isaac learned the ways of Yahweh from his father Abram and the language. Isaac had twins. He had Esau and Jacob. You best believe they learned the ways of Yahweh, or the language, and the language as well. So now let's go over the blessings that Esau received, as well as Jacob. Genesis chapter 27, verse 1 through 11. And it came to pass that when Isaac was old, and his eyes were dim, so that he could not see, he called Esau, his eldest son, and said unto him, My son. And he said unto him, Behold, here I am. And he said, Behold now, I am old. I know not the day of my death. Now therefore take, I pray thee, thy weapons, thy quiver and thy bow, and go out to the field, and take me some venison, and make me Savior meat, such as I love, and bring it to me, that I might eat, that my soul may bless thee before I die. And Rebekah heard when Isaac spake to Esau his son. And Esau went to the field to hunt for venison, and to bring it. And Rebekah spake unto Jacob, her son, saying, Behold, I heard thy father spake unto Esau thy brother, saying, Bring me venison, and make me Savior meat, that I might eat, and bless thee before Yahweh, before my death. Now therefore, my son, obey my voice, according to that which I command thee. Go now to the flock, and fetch me from thence 2 good kids of the goats, and I will make them savory meat for thy father, such as he loveth. And thou shalt bring it to thy father, that he may eat, and that he may bless thee before his death. And Jacob said to Rebekah his mother, Behold, Esau my brother is a hairy man, and I am a smooth man. The book of Jasher, chapter 28, verse 17 through 20. And after this, Shalach, the son of Apashad, died in that year, which is the 18th year of the lives of Jacob and Esau. And all the days that Shalach lived were 433 years, and he died. At that time, Isaac sent his younger son Jacob to the house of Shem and Eber, and he learned the instructions of Yahweh. And Jacob remained in the house of Shem and Eber for 32 years. And Esau, his brother, did not go, for he was not willing to go, and he remained in his father's house in the land of Canaan. And Esau was continually hunting in the fields to bring home what he could get. So did Esau all the days. And Esau was a designing and deceitful man, one who hunted after the hearts of men and inveigled them. And Esau was a valiant man in the field, and in the course of time went as usual to hunt. He came as far as the field of Zaire, the same is Edom. Now we just read that Jacob learned the instructions of Shem and Eber, and he remained with them for 32 years, learning the instructions of Shem and Eber, Now we know Shem and Eber spoke Hebrew, and they taught him the customs of the Hebrews. Esau didn't go. He didn't want to learn the customs or the ways of Yahweh. He stayed behind. And he was a deceitful man. And he went after the minds of men like Nimrod did. So Jacob came in before Isaac's death, disguised as Esau. Genesis chapter 27, verse 28 and 29. Therefore, Elohim give thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee, and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's son bow down to thee. Cursed be every one that curseth thee, and blessed be he that blesseth thee. Genesis chapter 27, verse 36 through 42. And he said, is not he rightly named Jacob? For he had supplanted me these 2 times. He took away my birthright, and behold, now he hath taken away my blessing. And he said, hast thou not reserved a blessing for me? And Isaac answered and said unto him, Esau, behold, I have made him thy Lord, and all his brethren have given to him for servants. And with corn and wine have I sustained him. And what shall I do now unto thee, my son? And Esau said unto his father, hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even also me, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shall thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. And Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing wherewith his father blessed him. And Esau said in his heart, the days of mourning for my father are at hand. Then will I slay my brother Jacob. And these words of Esau, her elder son, were told to Rebekah. And she sent and called Jacob her younger son, and said unto him, behold, thy brother Esau, as touching thee, doeth comfort himself, purposing to kill thee. As we see, Jacob was given a landmass that he will rule over, and Esau shall dwell within that same landmass, but live by the sword. So let's look at Genesis chapter 27, verse 28 again. This is Jacob's blessing. Therefore, Elohim give thee of the dew of heaven, and the fatness of the earth, and plenty of corn and wine. Now Esau's blessing is verse 39 and 40. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, behold, thy dwelling shall be the fatness of the earth, and of the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword shalt thou live, and shalt serve thy brother. And it shall come to pass, when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So, verse 28, it states, Elohim gave Jacob the dew of heaven. What does that mean? The dew of heaven. Basically, that's anything above this region that was given to Abraham or his forefather or Jacob. Anything that's above that region that's in the sky is his. What does fatness of the earth mean? This landmass is the richest part of the earth, which has a very fertile land. Which landmass is this? Did we forget? Let's go to Genesis chapter 15 and verse 18. In the same day, Yahweh made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. In the same day, Yahweh made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. Leviticus chapter 20, verse 23 and 24. And ye shall not walk in the manners of the nation, which I cast out before you. for they have committed all these things, and therefore I abhorred them. But I have said unto you, ye shall inherit their land, and I will give it unto you to possess it, a land that floweth with milk and honey. I am Yahweh, your Elohim, which has separated you from other people.
Most Egyptologists and anthropologists, archaeologists of the Eurocentric persuasion will say that Egypt is in Africa. They had to concede that, but then they still draw the line by saying that they weren't Africans like that. In other words, they weren't dark-skinned people. And of course, this is all part of the Great Deception. And the reality is that if they give up Egypt, ancient Kemet, if they give that up and say that that was a part of black Africa, then they will also have to give up Israel. And that's why they draw the line at Egypt, because if they give up Egypt, they've got to give up Israel.
Now, we're going to go over here, and I'm going to show you where Israel sits on the African tectonic plate, which means that Israel is northeast Africa. Now, when we look at this map, this is the Sinai, okay? This is the Red Sea. This is Egypt. This is the Sinai. This is Israel. All right, this is Saudi Arabia over here. Now, if you see this in Hebrew, it says Haluach Africani, the African plate. Here it is right here. Israel is sitting right here. Israel is sitting on the Haluach Africani, which means that Israel is northeast Africa.
Without question, we are in northeast Africa. We are landlocked to Egypt, with the exception of the Suez Canal, which was a man-made ditch, a boundary now between, in fact, it's not even really a boundary anymore since Egypt has reclaimed the Sinai Peninsula. But nevertheless, even those of us who are Pan-Africanists in our thinking and Afrocentric, we forget and we leave off that portion of northeast Africa and don't want to claim anything beyond that.
Europeans classified this area as the Middle East, you know, and then since this the Middle East, the other question, where the Middle West, where the Middle North, and where the Middle South? They don't have no geographical terms like that. And the only reason why they use that term, Middle East, because it disconnects the proper connotation that should go with describing this land geographically.
So what is Ishmael's blessing? Genesis chapter 17, verse 20. And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and will make him fruitful, and will multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he begot, and I will make him a great nation. Genesis chapter 25, verse 18. And they dwelt from Havilah unto Shur, that is before Egypt, as thou goest towards Assyria, and he died in the presence of all his brethren. Genesis chapter 16, verse 12. And he will be a wild man, his hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. And he shall be a wild man. His hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. Genesis chapter 25, verse 30. And Esau said unto Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. Genesis chapter 36, verse 1. Now these are the generations of Esau, who is Edom. So Esau is Edom. So whoever came from Esau is an Edomite. Genesis chapter 32, verse 28. And he said, Thy name shall be called no more Jacob, but Israel. For as a prince hast thou power with Elohim and with men, and hast prevailed. So Jacob's name was changed to Israel, or Yashra'Allah. So whoever descended from Jacob, or Israel, because that's his name, is an Israelite. Who is all his brethren? Remember, Ishmael came from Abraham. Abraham was a Hebrew. So Ishmael was a Hebrew Ishmaelite. Anybody that came from Ishmael, they are Hebrew Ishmaelites. Anybody that came from Esau, they are Hebrew Edomites. Anybody that came from Jacob, which changed his name to Israel, they are Hebrew Israelites. And they are all brothers. Deuteronomy chapter 15, verse 12. And if thy brother, an Hebrew man, or an Hebrew woman, be sold unto thee, and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee. Verse 12 again. And if thy brother, an Hebrew man, or an Hebrew woman, be sold unto thee, and serve thee 6 years, then in the 7th year thou shalt let him go free from thee.
Deuteronomy chapter 23, verse 7. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land.
So your brother or sister is a Hebrew. So the Ishmaelites, Edomites, and Israelites are brothers and sisters. So what tongue does the Ishmaelites and Edomites speak today? Well, we know the Ishmaelites speak Aramaic or Arabic. So what tongue does the Edomites speak? They should speak some form of Aramaic or Arabic as well, or some form of Hebrew. So let's go into the Compact Bible Dictionary and get the definition or get an understanding of the Hebrew language. Page 222, Hebrew language. With the exception of Aramaic in Ezra chapter 4 verse 6 or verse 8 through 6 and Jeremiah, Hebrew is the language of the Old Testament with closely affinity to Ugaritic, Phoenician, Moabitic, and the Canaanite dialects. Hebrew represents the northwest branch of the Semitic language family. Its sisters languages include Arabic, Akkadian, and Aramaic. Now let's look up Aramaic in the same Compact Bible Dictionary. It states, a West Semitic language closely related to Hebrew, which developed various dialects. Question is, us being Hebrew Israelites, why don't we speak Hebrew now? Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 64. And Yahweh shall scatter thee among all people, from one end of the earth even unto the other, and there thou shalt serve other gods, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, even wood and stone. So we've been scattered throughout the earth among other nations, and we lost our tongue and picked up their tongues, which is why we don't speak our tongue today.
So far we went over the language and the blessings and the covenant as far as the land and location of where they dwell, with the exception of Hebrew Israelites. So now let's look at the customs. In the beginning of this video, a guy said Edomites love to eat red meat like their father Esau.
So let's go to images. As you can see, we go to images. How do white people eat steak? I'm going to show you how to eat steak, all right? And that's, straight off the cow. But anyway, I got a video that I'm going to show you guys right after I get done speaking. But I just wanted to make this video quick to show you who Esau is. It's for some of you new people who are coming into this truth. You blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans who are coming into the truth and you're not fully convinced of who these Edomites are. All right, these Edomites are these so-called white people, okay? And they eat bloody meat. Goes back to their forefather Esau. All right, these Edomites are these so-called white people, okay? And they eat bloody meat. goes back to the forefather Esau.
Genesis chapter 9, verse 1 through 4. And Elohim blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, Be fruitful, and multiply, and replenish the earth. And the fear of you and the dread of you shall be upon every beast of the earth, and upon every fowl of the air, upon all that moveth upon the earth, and upon all the fishes of the sea. Into your hand are they delivered. Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat for you. Even as the green herb have I given you all things. But flesh with the life thereof, which is the blood thereof, shall ye not eat. What does that mean? Leviticus chapter 7, verse 26 and 27. Moreover, you shall eat no manner of blood, whether it be of a fowl or of beast, in any of your dwellings. Whatsoever soul it be that eateth any manner of blood, even that soul shall be cut off from his people. Why? Why can't we eat any manner of blood? Leviticus chapter 17, verse 11. For the life of the flesh is in the blood, and I have given it to you upon the altar to make an atonement for your souls. For it is the blood that maketh an atonement for the soul. Being that Isaac is the father of Esau and Jacob, I think he taught them the ways of the Most High, and they knew not to eat any blood within animals. Genesis chapter 25, verse 27 and 28. And the boys grew, and Esau was a cunning hunter, a man of the field, and Jacob was a plain man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau, because he did eat of his venison, but Rebekah loved Jacob. What is venison? So if you go into your Hebrew and Greek concordance, that's Hebrews 67:18. Food that he hunted of clean beasts, of course. Verse 29. And Jacob sod pottage, and Esau came from the field, and he was faint. So basically, Jacob boiled his food, and that sod pottage was nothing but soup. So he boiled his soup. Verse 30. And Esau said to Jacob, Feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. So Esau wanted that boiled soup that Jacob made. Now, when you look into Edom, or not only that, just look up red. When you look up red, red means ruddy. Ruddy is a reddish, brownish color. That's what it is. So Jacob made some reddish, brownish soup. What kind of soup? We go find out what kind of soup that is. Verse 31. And Jacob said, Sell me this day thy birthright. And Esau said, Behold, I am at the point to die, and what profit shall this birthright do to me? Verse 33. And Jacob said, Swear to me this day. And he swore unto him, and he sold his birthright unto Jacob. So many people believe that Jacob tricked Esau into getting his birthright. No, he sold his birthright unto Jacob. Verse 34. Then Jacob gave Esau bread and pottage of lentils, and he did eat and drink and rose up and went his way. Thus Esau despised his birthright. So Jacob gave Esau bread and a pottage of reddish or ruddy lentils. Lentil what? Lentil beans. That's what Jacob gave Esau. Therefore, nowhere in the scriptures does it state that Esau ate raw meat. He ate some ruddy lentil soup. That's all. Now, his father loved his ruddy lentil soup. So does that mean that he ate raw meat too? No. Isaac knew the law, so he know not to eat raw meat. So does Jacob and Esau.
Genesis chapter 17, verse 10 through 14. This is my covenant, which ye shall keep between me and you and thy seed after thee. Every man child among you shall be circumcised, and ye shall circumcise the flesh of your foreskin, and it shall be a token of the covenant between me and you. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generations, ye that is born in the house or bought with money of any stranger, which is not of thy seed, he that is born in thy house, and he that is bought with thy money, must needs be circumcised. And my covenant shall be in your flesh for an everlasting covenant. And the uncircumcised man-child, whose flesh of his foreskin is not circumcised, that soul shall be cut off from his people. He hath broken my covenant. Verse 23 through 27. And Abraham took Ishmael, his son, and all that were born in his house, and all that were bought with his money, every male among the men of Abraham's house, and circumcised the flesh of their foreskin in the selfsame day, as Elohim had said unto him. And Abraham was 90 years old and 9, when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And Ishmael, his son, was 13 years old, when he was circumcised in the flesh of his foreskin. And the selfsame day was Abraham circumcised, and Ishmael his son. And all the men of his house, born in the house, and bought with money of the stranger, were circumcised with him. Genesis chapter 21, verse 4. And Abraham circumcised his son Isaac, being 8 days old, as Elohim had commanded him. Leviticus chapter 12, verse 2 and 3. Speak unto the children of Israel, saying, if a woman have conceived seed, and born a man-child, then she shall be unclean 7 days. According to the days of the separation for her infirmity, she shall be unclean. And in the 8th day, the flesh of his foreskin shall be circumcised. Now, did Abraham and his seeds carry on this tradition and custom? You best believe it. Ishmaelites still carrying on this tradition, as well as the Edomites and Israelites. Now let's look up the dress code. Let's see how they used to dress back then, and let's see how they dress now. Let's go into the Compact Bible Dictionary and look up dress. Dress. Knowledge of the kind of clothing worn by the people of biblical times comes from the scriptural statements, from representations of the people and their clothing we find on monuments, reliefs, seals, plaques, and tomb paintings, and from graves and tomb remains. And from these established certain simple styles which were continued from generation to generation, then carried by Esau and Ishmael and their descendants into Arabia, where the Arab continued them through the centuries, always with a feeling that it was decidedly wrong to change. Let's look up beard. beard, a badge of manly dignity, as a sign of mourning. It was the custom to pluck it out or cut it off. The Israelites were forbidden to shave off the corners of their beards, probably because it was regarded as a heathenish sign.
The massage of it on your cheek. Check out that. Cutting other side of the cheek. Pubes.
Leviticus chapter 21, verse 5. They shall not make baldness upon their head, neither shall they shave off the corner of their beard, nor make any cuttings in their flesh. Let's go back to dress. I want to show you guys something real quick. Dress. Okay. These are Arabs. Ancient times. Well, even now, these are Arabs. As you see, look at the clothing that they're wearing. Look at their skin tone. The original Arabs were black. Which brings us to color. Remember, Esau came out red all over like a hairy garment. Esau means hairy. And when you look up red, that means ruddy. A reddish brown color.
Go ahead, bro. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb.
Right, so there was twins. Keep going.
And the first came out red all over, like in hairy garment. And they called his name Esau.
And they called his name Esau. So the first came out, he was red all over, like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. All right, which you so-called white people, y'all descend from Esau.
That's right.
Because I'm looking at you, you're not white. That's why we say so-called white people. I'm looking at you, you're red. All right, excuse me, sir. Would you say that he's red? Would you say he's red?
No, he's more like of a peach color.
Peach, which is a derivative of what? Red, man.
Like
red. That's red. That's red. You're red. I'm looking at you. You're red. You guys are white people.
That's right.
You're so-called. You're so-called white.
There you go.
There you go. There you go. Thank you. Thank you. Keep going.
And after that came his brother out, and his hand took hold on Esau's heel.
Right, which is spiritual. All right, keep going.
And his name was called Jacob.
And they called his name Jacob. Now, they didn't need to explain Jacob because Jacob was normal. That's why even today there's a term called people of color. Who are the only people that are excluded from that term called people of color? Can you answer me that, please?
Can you read that again one time? Read it.
Don't read it for me. He's playing around.
No.
So the first came out. The first came out red all over, and they called his name Esau. It said so listen. How about this? It said the elder shall serve the younger. What does that mean? The elder shall serve the younger. What does that mean? Can you explain that to me?
He's talking
about Jacob.
So who's Jacob? This is you're reading the Word of God. It's the Word of God that I read and I respect and I consider the Word of God. Right. The problem is the interpretation. You come up with your own version of interpretation that's appropriate to your faith.
You believe in the Bible. I got a verse for you.
Okay, hold on. I want to wait.
He's got a verse.
No, but I'm waiting on him. We got to get to this point because he said he was going to interpret.
Jeremiah 14.
He said he was going to.
Then the Lord said to me, the prophets are prophesying lies in my name. I have not sent them, or anointed them, or spoken to them. They're prophesying to false visions, divinations, idolatries, and the delusions of their minds.
Okay, so what is
Amen? There we go.
I used to believe and teach the same doctrine until I got my study game up. Let's look at other people who were ruddy in the scriptures. 1 Samuel chapter 16, verse 12. And he sent and brought him in. Now he was ruddy, and with all of a beautiful countenance, and goodly to look to. And Yahweh said, Arise, anoint him, for this is he. Now this is talking about David. David was also ruddy. Now let's look up ruddy in the Hebrew and Greek concordance. That's Hebrews 1:32. Reddish. Let's get another person. Genesis chapter 2, verse 19. And out of the ground Yahweh Elohim formed every beast of the field, and every fowl of the air, and brought them unto Adam to see what he would call them. And whatsoever Adam called every living creature, that was the name thereof. So, Adam, when you look that up, Adam and Edom has the same Hebrew meaning. So when you look up Adam, that's Hebrews 1:20. Ruddy, like I said, which is the same Hebrew word for Edom. When you look up the root word of that, that's Hebrews 1:19. Now let's go to the book of Josephus. This is book 1, chapter 1. Paragraph 2, number 34. Moreover, Moses, after the 7th day was over, begins to talk philosophically concerning the formation of man, says thus, that Elohim took dust from the ground and formed man, and inserted in him a spirit and a soul. This man was called Adam, which in the Hebrew tongue signifies one that is red, because he was formed out of red earth, compounded together. For of that kind is virgin and true earth. Now let's look into some images. Let's go into Google image. So let's see what ruddy horses look like. They appear to be a reddish brownish color. A reddish brownish color. Let's see what a ruddy dog looked like. Once again, a reddish brownish color. Let's see what a ruddy duck looks like. A reddish brownish color. Now, based off these pics, what should a ruddy person look like? Let's go to images. Let's see what Google will show us. A ruddy person.
Here tonight felt like they lost. You know why? Because y'all been lied to. Google lied to you. Google lied to you.
But a ruddy person should actually look like this. First Kings chapter 11, verse 14 through 17. And Yahweh stirred up an adversary unto Solomon, Hadad the Edomite. He was the king's seed in Edom. For it came to pass, when David was in Edom, and Joab the captain of the host was gone up to bury the slain, after he had smitten every male in Edom. For 6 months did Joab remain there with all Israel, until he had cut off every male in Edom. That Hadad fled, he and certain Edomites of his father's servants with him, to go into Egypt, Hadad being yet a little child. Why did Hadad flee into Egypt? For the same reason Mary and Jesus fled there, and the same reason why the Israelites fled into Africa in 70 AD, to hide among those that looked the closest to them. If Hadad would have been a so-called white man, he would have stood out like a sore thumb. Where will Esau be dwelling at in these last days? Remember, Esau should be dwelling within the same region as his brothers. Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 7 and 8. Concerning Edom, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, is wisdom no more in Teman? Is counsel perished from the prudent? Is their wisdom vanished? Flee ye, turn back, dwell deep, O inhabitants of Dedan, for I will bring the calamity of Esau upon him, the time that I will visit him. Verse 10. But I have made Esau bare, I have uncovered his secret places, and he shall not be able to hide himself. His seed is spoiled, and his brethren, and his neighbors, and he is not. So the Edomites are going to dwell in Dedan and Teman, which is in Saudi Arabia, which will make them Arabs. Isaiah chapter 34, verse 5 and 6. For my sword shall be bathed in heaven. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea and upon the people of my curse to judgment. Idumea is the Greek word for Edom. Verse 6. The sword of Yahweh is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness, and with the blood of lambs and goats, with the fat of the kidneys of rams. For Yahweh hath a sacrifice in Bozrah, and a great slaughter in the land of Idumea, which is Edom. Let's touch on this scripture that people get twisted on. 2nd Esdras, chapter 6, verse 7 through 9. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac. When Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. Verse 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Now, you know, you got some brothers and sisters out there that teach that there's more than one world, which is true. There is more than one world. Esau is ruling in the land over there in Bozrah, which is Israel or Palestine, Jordan. They are ruling over there. So they have their own world going on. Let's verify that there's more than one world. Hebrews chapter 1, verse 2. Hath in these last days spoken unto us by his Son, whom he hath appointed heir of all things, by whom also he made the worlds, which is plural. So there's more than one world. Esau is ruling their world right now. And once the Most High cleansed that land over there, because that's what he's doing. He's cleansing that land. And once he kills off the Edomites, we are going to rule in that place forever. In conclusion, white people are not Edomites. So get your study game up and stop listening to false prophets and doctrines. Since you broke off from some of these camps, you need to drop some of these doctrines, because some of these doctrines that they're pushing are false. If you're still not convinced on who Edomites are, maybe this will convince you.
Nation. And out of Isaac, you have Esau and Jacob.
I want to give all praises to the Most High Allah, Yahweh Bahashem, Hamashiach Yahweh Shah, Shalom.